Hey besties, welcome back to another video on my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe, get comfortable, all that good stuff. Today is Saturday, January 7th, a day before your girl turns 25. But just drop happy birthday in the comments before we even get started. But today we are talking about 6 months after teaching kindergarten for the first time. This is how I feel. Okay, and don't worry, I am not holding the camera while I'm driving. Here's my hands here. I have a camera tripod, so y'all just sit in there and my eyes is on the road. Okay, but I started teaching in, I would say, July, because I did summer camp. It is now January of 2023, and it's been a lot of different motions in this ocean of teaching public school. I'm not gonna lie. I started off as a private school Montessori teacher. I was doing that for about 6 years. And at this point, I'm deep in the public school thing. So basically, when I first started teaching, the way I felt is a lot different than how I feel now. When I first started teaching, like I said, I did summer school. So I was doing Rising K, which is like kids who are going to kindergarten, and preparing them for kindergarten. And I only had about 8 or 9 students that I had for about 2 weeks to prepare them. Like, that was the summer camp. It was like 2 weeks. And I promise you, that was chef's kiss. It was so easy. There was nobody like intervening into your class. There was nobody watching you teach, like observing you and all the stuff that happens when you're actually in the school year. There was none of that. It was just you and those few kids that you were prepping for school. And then it was also you were given everything that you were supposed to teach. There was no lesson plans. They gave you everything you're supposed to teach. That was amazing. So I started off thinking that maybe teaching was gonna kind of be like that, like teaching kindergarten was kind of gonna be like that. It was a total switch. But when I started that, y'all, I was loving it. It was amazing because I was able to like really tune in on those like 10 kids, and I just felt free as a teacher. Like, I felt like that was what I was waiting for. Like, when I got my degree, I'm like, this is what I'm here for. And then I just experienced other stuff outside of teaching, because it's not just teaching. It's also like you have to interact with a lot of different women, a lot of different teachers, a lot of different staff. And even though I enjoyed being in the classroom with the students and I enjoyed the summer camp thing, I was dealing with other stuff of like feeling lonely and feeling like left out a bit. And it was mainly because I was new, and also just, you know, I'm big on vibes. So I felt like, you know, I was kind of like, you know, when you're new and people like, of course, look at you and treat you like you're the new person, like you don't really trust anybody. Like, I wasn't really trusting anybody when I first came in. I was just kind of like staying to myself. Like, even though everybody was clicked up, I was still like staying to myself because I just didn't feel like super invited. I guess I would say that. I didn't feel invited during the summer camp thing. But as time went on, I went ahead to start teaching, and I got my first group of students. I was already in the classroom that I was going to have for August, so that was good. So I got my first group of students, and the first couple of months of teaching, I am not going to lie, I was considering if this was for me. That's crazy to say after going to school for 6 years, getting a degree, and even just knowing that I wanted to teach from the age of 11, 10, 9, 8. Like, I always knew I wanted to teach. But those first couple months of teaching, I honestly second guessed it, because it was tough for me. It was so much going on, from behavior management to behavior management to behavior management. That was the main thing, y'all. Like, you can have a whole group of students, but if you have like 1 or 2 students that is like super duper difficult to like, are y'all shaking right now? Hold on, I'm sorry. We about to get off this bumpy road. I love my students to death. I love every single one of them. But the thing with behavior management, it takes time for the students to like be here with you, okay? And I always know I can get a kid to be here with me because I'm big on building relationships with my students. Like, you're gonna love me, I'm gonna love you, so it's gonna work out. Like, a student is, I mean, I'm not gonna speak too soon. I just know I'm big on building relationships. So it was hard for me in the beginning because, you know, the students are new to your classroom, they're new to you, so it doesn't always just happen off the bat. So I had a hard time with like tantrums, and like, I'm dealing with kindergarten, so, you know, crying, screaming in the hallway, falling out. Like, sometimes, you know, some students can be sometimes disrespectful, and I sometimes just wanted to cry. There was many times where I would be like pressing for an administrator and like holding back tears because I felt so defeated to even be asking for help, like to be even asking for the administrator to come help me. I felt so defeated. I felt so horrible. And then I had like all my other 25 kids, not 25, all my other like 19 kids watching me through it all, through every behavior management problem I have. My students' eyes are on me. They're watching how I react. They're watching my emotions. They're watching the other students' emotions, and it would be so hard to keep it all together when, like I said, I just felt like I wanted to cry dealing with it sometimes because it was just so tough, and like you wanted it to work, and you would try everything, and it just wouldn't work. And like I said, it took time. So that was probably the first 2 months, and I would like press the button for the administrator to come help me, and they would help me for a bit, but the student's going to be back in your classroom. Like, it's your responsibility as a teacher. Like, what do you want them to do? Like, this is your student. They're going to be stuck with you. Like, they're going to come help you, but they're still going to be back in that room. So it's really like, it's all basically on you. Like, you're going to have to figure something out to work with this student because they're not going nowhere. Trust me, they're not going anywhere. So I would be pressing the button. I would really try not to press the button, but like I said, I have an assistant in the classroom, and she would suggest it, and I'm just like, I would try and like just tune it out, but you can't tune that stuff out because the students are gonna get disrupted. It was just really tough, and I would contact the parents, and that's another thing. Like, you have to take so many extra steps on top of your job when you're dealing with the behavior management problem, that it makes your job a lot tougher. Like, you're not just teaching at this point. Now you're dealing with a whole nother situation, and you're messaging parents, and you're making all these behavior plans, and you're just doing all this extra stuff on top of teaching and managing the other 19 kids. I felt like I could not do it much longer those months. Like, I was literally considering, like, after this year, I don't know if I could do it. That's how it was making me feel. So the first couple of months, I was kind of like down about it, and I just wasn't really motivated about going into the classroom because I knew what I was going to deal with. Like, after spending all that time decorating my classroom, trying to make everything perfect for my kids, like decorating it amazingly, making sure they had everything they needed, and then coming in and dealing with that, it was just so discouraging. But probably about 2-3 months later, me and you know, my student, we got an understanding. Our relationship was constantly building day by day, but we got an understanding. Me and the parents got an understanding, and it honestly worked out so amazing. And I'm honestly so grateful for the parents. I'm so grateful for that student, and we have the best relationship now, y'all. Like, I love that student so much, and I love all my students so much. But all of them, like I said, it just took time for them to get on the same page as Miss Brown. And once they did, my job honestly got better. But there were other things I was dealing with, like health-wise, because being a teacher, it took me a while to actually understand that I have to pour into me too. Like, I have to literally pour into me. Like, Kendall, you cannot be working 8-9 hours and not pick up your water bottle and have something to drink. You cannot survive off of just an iced green tea that has caffeine in it. You can't survive off caffeine and just work, teach. I literally had to go to the hospital in the beginning of the school year because I was exerting myself so much and forgetting to give myself what it needs. Like, that was really scary. And at that point I realized, like, you know, sometimes throughout the day I have to sit down at my desk for like 10 minutes, not get up, not get up, that's the main thing, and just drink my water, have my fruit, eat my lunch, have a snack, like chill out for a second, because it was hard for me to like not do the most. It was hard to not do the most. That's the God's honest truth. It was hard for me not to do the most, y'all, because I wanted to help all my students. And as a teacher, you're gonna have students asking you for help all throughout the day. Ms. Brown, Ms. Brown, Ms. Brown, Ms. Brown, all throughout the day. And sometimes you just have to sit down and say, give me a second. Like, I need this time for me. I need to sit down and drink. I need to sit down and eat something. So I do that now, and it makes the world of a difference. In the beginning, within those 2-3 months, I also was like having a hard time with the meetings and all the abbreviations that you deal with as a teacher. As a new teacher, you're kind of just like, what is this? Like, what are we even talking about? But as you go on, you see that everything is not so serious. I mean, everything is serious, but everything that they would be telling us in the meetings, I would felt like I had to do that, and it had to be exactly how they said it, and it had to be perfect, and that was putting more pressure on me. That was making me feel more overwhelmed, and it was making me feel like a little bit discouraged, because it's like, oh, now I gotta change this, or now I gotta do this. And the way those meetings are, is a lot of it is suggestions. Like, you don't have to do everything perfect, and this is of course what they want you to aim for, but you're not gonna always have it. You're not gonna always have it together. So I take things a lot lighter now. I definitely focus on what I want and what I need for me and my students in my classroom, while also like doing my job and, you know, making sure we're hitting those standards and goals and stuff. But I'm a lot more laxed. 6 months later, I'm a lot more laxed when it comes to being a public school teacher. Like, I feel like I get it now. And also when it comes to the relationships with my students, like I said, we have such an amazing relationship. All of them. Like, as of January 2023, all of my students know their teachers so well. They love and they appreciate me so well, just as I appreciate them and love them, and make sure they're having fun, and I make sure they're having the best moments they can. Like, for example, like if we have a lot of celebrations, I celebrate just about all of their birthdays. I make them all as special as I can, sing a happy birthday, give them birthday treats, and I make everything as special as I can for them, because that matters, and all of that helps our relationship. So yeah, like, I'm just so grateful for them. And like, I just had a birthday, well, my birthday's coming up, but on Friday they made my birthday like so special. Like, if you haven't seen my shorts, look at one of my shorts. It says they really surprised me. Yeah, they really surprised me. That short, that shows you, like, my students, they come through for their teacher, and the love is unmatched. Like, that's the rewarding part of teaching that everybody talks about. In the beginning, it was hard to kind of see the reward. I'm not gonna lie. It was really hard to see the reward, because your students, they haven't warmed up to you yet. They don't really show too much love in the beginning, because they're still warming up. Y'all don't really know each other like that. But now that it's 6 months later and we have our bonds, I have a relationship with every student in the classroom, that's the reward right there. Like, all the little I love yous, all of the I get 1 million hugs a day, like probably 1 million hugs a day. I get so many of these little notes that say ILY, I love you. I get so many hearts, so many little bracelets they make. Like, it's so much stuff, y'all. This is what I went to school for. This is what I've always wanted to do. So I would definitely say give it some time if you're a new teacher, because in the beginning it's going to be tough. I mean, maybe for some people it's not, but even in the beginning for me, I wasn't brand new to running a classroom. I wasn't brand new to teaching and dealing with young kids, because I dealt with I had my own classroom Montessori, but the behavior management rules is a lot different than in private school and public school. Like, public school, like I said, they gonna be in your classroom no matter how many times you press a button. Like, they not going nowhere. They not getting withdrawn, none of that stuff. So it took me time to adjust to public school, but I really feel good about my job now. Like, I know what I'm doing, and I'm not as hard on myself about everything, which the job is already hard enough. So being hard on yourself just makes it even worse. I mean, not even worse. It makes it even harder. So, yeah, that was handled. That behavior thing was handled. The putting pressure on myself handled. And then, like I said in the beginning, I was dealing with feeling like outcasted. I was feeling really isolated and lonely a little bit. Because in the summer camp, like I would just go eat in my room by myself, and you know, some other teachers, they would eat in the classroom with their friend teachers. I wouldn't. I would just eat in my room by myself. But 6 months later, I still eat in a room by myself. That's just my personality, though. I'm not a super talkative person, and I really like my alone time. But it's a good balance now because me and my teammates, we have good relationships. We go out to eat with each other. We message each other. We have group chats. So I definitely, of course, have friends on my team, and we're all like a family now, which, you know, that's what you should want. That's what you should aim for, because you can be snooty all you want to, but y'all are a team, and y'all are going to need each other, because it can't be the whole school versus, I mean, what I'm trying to say is you're going to need each other, because there's so many times where you're like, can you help me do this spreadsheet, or can you help me with this, or can you watch my kids while I'm running to the bathroom? Like, you're going to need help. You can't run a classroom all alone. Like, you're going to need some help. So I got that with my team, and I love them so much, and that's a positive, because at first I was a little worried, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm happy I have a good team. That's another important thing. Make sure the people on your team make sure that y'all have a relationship, because that's important. And the feeling isolated, the putting pressure on yourself and taking a break. And then lastly, I was so excited about the money. When I first started, the money was like super, super amazing, because summer camp, you get paid differently than the actual school year, because it's a lot more than what you get paid in the actual school year, because it's summertime, and I guess they want to treat you for actually teaching in the summer. But it was my first year. I wasn't even supposed to. Never mind, I'm not gonna talk about that. But yeah, so summer camp, I was getting like really good money. Like, I was like amazed by it. And then probably I'll say about 2 months into the actual school year, when my like payments actually like settled out and there was no more bonuses, I kind of was like, that's what my checks are going to be like. This is how much I have left after I pay bills. And that's what I'm like dealing with now, and I'm forever grateful, because I was just broke in college January 2022, and I had nothing. But the pay is definitely something you have to adjust to. You definitely have to budget. Okay? If you don't budget, or if you don't pay your bills first, baby girl, I'm gonna just bow your head, pray for you, because oh wow, like, you have to budget. So that's what I have been working on. Everybody knows teacher pay is something that needs to be raised. It needs to be higher, because this is such a taxing job. Like, I make so many decisions throughout the day. It is crazy. Like, in a split second, I'm making probably about 12 decisions for the whole classroom. Like, my assistant asks me questions. Like, I'm in charge of everything. So my assistant asks me questions. The kids ask me questions. People come into your classroom, ask you questions. Like, you're just like here. And it's a lot. But like I said, right now, as of 6 months later, I would not trade this for the world. It's so rewarding. I love talking about my kids. I love getting things for my kids, and it's amazing. In the beginning, I was spending a lot of money on my classroom. That's something. Let's talk about the money thing. I was spending so much money on my classroom, y'all. It was crazy. Like, I would go to the store just about every day after work and buy them like new toys for treasure box, buy new fun things to add into our activities for learning, buy snacks for a celebration, buy new containers to hold their pencils. Like, I was buying so much stuff that I don't even know how much money I was spending each day. It was so expensive, and I wasn't like actually calculating how much I was spending. But what made me change that was the students, they don't, you know, they're kindergartners. They don't always take care of all the things that you buy, and it may get like ruined. So I stopped that. Like, I'm not about to spend all my money on this stuff and y'all scribble on the name tags, rip the name tags up, break it. Like, I stopped buying so much stuff. I still get them stuff, but certain things I'm not gonna be going out doing all that, because like I said, sometimes they just gonna mess it up they just gonna mess it up. I'm not gonna lie. So right now I write their names on their desk with a Sharpie, and that's their name tag, because I take them name tags down probably about 5, 6, 7 times, and each time they tore them back up. So right now we're doing Sharpie. That was another big change, because I was spending a lot of money on it, and like I said, that had to go into play with how motivated I was and how much pressure I felt to have my classroom this way and that way. But now, like I said, I'm a lot more relaxed. I'm like, child, my kid's good, I'm good, that's all that matters. So this is honestly my update. This is my review of 6 months teaching. I love it. It gets better in the end, and I don't stress about a lot of stuff, and I do not stay late. In the beginning, I was staying late just about every other day. I was staying late trying to finish putting up this decoration, and I stopped that because, like I said, I was not pouring into myself enough, and it was just too much on myself. I had no work-life balance in the beginning, but now when it's time to leave work, I'm grabbing my bags, I'm out of there. Trust me, like, I'm not staying extra late. I'm not staying late at all, and it works for me. I'm proud of myself. Like, I'm proud of me for getting a grip on things and figuring this stuff out, because this is what I always wanted. But I am gonna go ahead and end this video here. My camera is getting overheated. So if you're a teacher, drop comments or questions down in the description box about what else you would like to know about teaching kindergarten, or just teaching period, as a first timer. And I will see you beautifuls in my next video. Make sure you are watching my day in the life of a teacher. I just posted one right here, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye, beautifuls.